Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel, and today we are going to solve the assignment that I have shared 2 weeks ago. So we have to build a quiz application in which we are going to see few questions and some MCQs, some timer, and we have to implement this review answer feature that on click that answer we should go back to our previous answer and we can change our answer as well. We have to mention like back button should be disabled, the next button should be disabled if our answer is not chosen. As of now answer is not chosen, so this should be disabled. We have to implement this thing. We have to implement if timer is completed, then this will be auto goes to the score page, and once we have a score, click all on answer, we can submit it and we can find our wrong answer. If it is right answer, then it will be the green. If it is wrong answer, then it will be the red color. If timer goes off and we didn't answer the question, then it will be not answer, and that also will be in the red color, and this is our final score. We can start again. So yeah, this is the assignment that I have to build. So let's get started. So first of all, go to codesandbox.io and create a new sandbox, and you can use the React template. Just click on this and the new sandbox will be created. Then you can do one more thing. Just click on this and change this to quiz app. And after doing this, let's get started. I have created a component folder. Inside that component folder, we have a quiz page, score page, and welcome page. And all of them just showing the heading of the welcome page, the score page, and the quiz page. We have the app where I have imported the welcome page and rendering the welcome page. Also, I have created all this. I have break down all the tasks into mini 11 tasks that we have to solve, and I recommend everyone to pause the video after every task and try to do it by yourself. If you are able to do it, then okay. If not, then you can come back and watch the video. And so we have this question data that we have a 3 questions and their options and their answer that we have to show as an MCQ. So let's get started with the very first task. So our first task is to create a 3 routes, where first route is the welcome page, second route will be quiz page, and the third route will be the score page. So let's do this thing first. So let's go to apps.js. We have to first of all import React Router DOM for using routing in React.js. So let's press Ctrl B and write in the dependency React Router DOM and press enter. So once you press enter, you can find out this React Router DOM is added to our dependency. You can also find this in the package.json file that React Router DOM dependency is added to dependency. Now, if you are working in the VS Code, you can write npm I React Router DOM, and React Router DOM dependency will be installed in your project. So now I will import the very first thing, browser router from React Router DOM. This browser router is the component that provides the routing context to our application. So we will keep our application inside this browser router. Now we have to create our first route, that is home route. So we are going to create route path, and here we have to write the path. So the home route will be slash, and then we have to write which component should be rendered at this route. So we will say element, and here we have to write that component name. So our component name is the welcome page, and after writing this we will say, now there is one problem, the route is not defined. So we have to import the route from the React Router DOM. Now again there is one more problem, that route is never used as a child of routes element. That means we can never use route directly. So what we have to do is, we have to use routes and we have to put our route inside this route. So let's first of all import it and then press enter. I'm doing in that way so that you can read the error and understand it in the better way. So now you are able to understand. Let me just remove this welcome page and let me just save it now. So you can see this one route is created. Now I hope you can create the 2 more routes, the quiz and the score page route. So just pause the video and tries to create two routes by yourself. I hope you have created those two routes. If no, no problem. Let's create it. So press Ctrl C, Ctrl V, and first route will be the quiz, and the second route that we have to create is the score. So here I will say quiz page, and first of all we have to import that quiz page. Now we will use it score page. Now let's check if our routing is working fine or not. So first of all we are at home page and it's showing the welcome page. Now if we go to quiz and press enter, we go to quiz page, and if we go to score and press enter, then it's showing score page. So that means that routing works perfectly fine. So let's go to the next task. So the next task is to not found page that redirects to home page. So let's create the not found page. So what is not found page? So let's see if I goes to any other path except the slash quiz or slash score and press enter. In that case, what happens? Nothing will be shown. And if you type this path in your browser, then it will give you the error of not found. So how to resolve that error? So what we can do is, rather than showing an empty, we can show it some component here. So let's create some component. Let's go to the components and create not found component. And here, let me just copy paste this. Now if I go to apps.js and I have to create the not found route. So how to create? You have to say route path, and here you have to write star. Star means any character except this quiz score if matches. That means any character will match with this route. Then what you have to do? You have to render this component, not found component. So now let's check it out if it's working or not. So if I click on any random route and click enter, then you see we go to not found component. So I hope you understand how to create not found and you understand about the asterisk. So it will match every other character than this score or slash quiz. So now there will be one more problem. If you see the not found page, you don't want to remain at the not found page. What you can do is you will come back. You will come back to home page. You want to do that. So what if rather than user do that, our application redirects to home page. So let's do that. So what we are planning to do is, let's go to the not found page. Once a user write any random route, we will redirect the user to the home page. So how to do that? For that, first of all, we have to import a new hook that is known as useNavigate. So we will use a React hook useNavigate, which is provided by the React Router DOM. So this useNavigate return a function which we can say navigate, and we have to pass a URL or the path name where it should be redirected. So if I say set timeout navigate navigates to home page after 3 seconds. So let's see what will happen. So let's write any random path and press enter. You are at the not found 1, 2, 3, and you come back to welcome page. So this is how we redirect to home page from this. Now sometime basically what we have to do, we have to write this in the use effect. So what this use effect do? This use effect is the another React hook which help us to write our code that will run every single time this component will be rendered. So let me tell you what this is. So this is the first our function code. this is the function code. This is the function you can find. This is the this is the array function, and this is the dependency array. And right now dependency array is empty. That means this function will run only once. If we write anything, any state inside this dependency array, in that case what will happen? This code will run every single time the state in the dependency state changes. Okay, so I hope you are able to understand. If not, no worry, we are going to have a whole new video on the use effect. Let's check out the next task. So let's go to task.js and find out the next task. So our next task is to create a welcome page, and that should have a start quiz button which will redirect to quiz page. So just pause the video and try to give it a shot. I hope you have created this by yourself because I already explained how to redirect to new page. So let me do it for yourself. So let's go to our welcome page and remove this everything and start from scratch. So we will start with a div. Inside that div, we will have first of all heading, and that will say welcome to a quiz challenge. And then we will have a div, and that div contain two paragraphs. The first paragraph will be you will be presented 3 MCQs, and second paragraph will be say can you score 100%. That means you are challenging the user. Now we will have another button, and that button will be say like start quiz. So this is very simple component. So now we have to give some classes to this so that it becomes visually appealing. So let's give the class box, and then it will be created a box, and let me just put it. Now I will give it the text center class so that the elements should be in the center. Now I want to give the h1 a class name known as title, and you can find all these. I have already written the css in the style.css. You can find this. I will link this css file in the description. You can find it out there. So let me just create this welcome page. Now this div will be the class name description, and then we will give this class name button btn. So now it's look good. I think it's look good. The only thing that we have to do is on clicking this start quiz button, it should redirect to /quiz. So how to do that? We already done this. We have to import use navigate hook from the react router DOM, and then we have to return that function use navigate. This function will be returned by use navigate, and now on click that button we have to add on click event, and on click event we have to write the event handler, and that event handler is very simple. Just say navigate, and inside that navigate we have to pass /quiz. So yeah, it's that simple. So now let's click on this start quiz and we goes to quiz page. So our welcome page is done. So now let's see the next task. So go to this task.js, and the next task is to show quiz question. So our welcome page is done. So just pause the video. We have this question data, and this is an array of object, and each object is contains some values like question, option, and their right answer. You just try to map over this question and show this question on the quiz page. What you have to do is you have to start with, let's say, current index from 0, and on clicking that next button it will direct to the next question. Just give it a shot. If you are not able to do it, no problem, let's just continue. So let's go to this quiz page and remove everything so that we can start from the scratch. Now we will say div, and inside that div we will have a two boxes. So the first box will be for the question, and second box will be for the review answer. So let me give some classes. First of all, let's press Ctrl B. Class name will be quiz box, and then we will have the box, and that class name should be box. and similarly we can control V, control C. So now we have the toe box. So first of all goes to the first div, and we will have the span, and here we will have a timer that will be of 90 seconds. So the timer will be of 90 seconds. Then we will have a question, and for question, first of all let's import the question data. So we will import question data from questions data, and let's console it and find out how our question data should look like. So let's go to console, and you see it's undefined. Basically we have to import it in this way. So now it's import right. Just close this tab. Now what we are gonna do is we have to show the first question, one question at a time. So what we will do, let's close this. So we will say const current question index, and set current question index, and that should be state with the I say 0. So the first index will be 0. Now what I'm gonna say is I will create the new component for question. I will say question .jsx, and this component will show my question and their option. So you can try to like do it by yourself. Just show this heading question and question.option. Just try to give it a shot. So let me just go to this question page, question component, and const question is equals to, I have to pass the question. So I will pass the current question, and then we have to return I would say first of all I will export default the question, and now let's go to queue space, and here import the question. So import question component from the component, and then goes to the question. Basically we are at the queue space, so we don't need to do in this way, we can directly do this. Okay, so now here will be our question, and for that I have to pass my active question. So how to pass my active question? Active question will be like current question will be my questions data. This is the array, and I will pass the current question index. So this will be my current question. So let's go to question and just console log it, console.log, just press Ctrl B, our current question, and let's return something. So I will make it a div, and inside that div I will say h1, and I will say current question, and here I will say div, and inside that div I will say I will have the object. Okay, so I have to map over it. So how to do that? Just let me check it. So goes to the question data, and this object, this option are the array. So I can map over it clearly. So I will say current question dot options dot map, and here I will say the option. Now what I will do, I will make it a simple label. I will add the label, and inside that label I will have the input, and which type of input it should be. It is an MCQ, so it will be a radio input. And then finally I have to add the text, that is option dot txt. You can find out like it is txt. This is the txt key. So now if you see, it look like this. So what I have to do, I have to give some classes. So the first class I would give is the, for the question I will say it question, so that it look small. And now I will go to the div, and I will give it like options class. So now it's look good. Let me see if I have to give any other class. I think no, but I have to do one more thing. For this input I have to give the value, and that value will be our option.text. And then we also have to do something, like if I click on this, so I have to like do on change. So how to do that? We will say on change, and what we have to do actually is we have to store our answer. Whatever I submit the answer, that should be stored. So how to store that? So let me just write it in the different line, so that's make good. And now I will say so first of all I have to use something. So just go here and go to the queue space, and now here what I will do is I will create an, do let me know, I want to create a submitted data. Should it be an array or should it be an object? Just let me know in the comment section. So I hope you already understand what should be. So if we have the, let's say, array and we want to update that some specific index, then how we will do? We have to iterate all over the array to find that special key. But if we have the object, we can update it in one time. So we will use the object, and here I am creating some const update summation function, update summation function, and here I will say like I will have some index, which question it is, and the value, what is the value. And how to update it? It's very simple. I will say set submitted data, and inside that I will destructure it. I will say let's have the submitted data, let's have submitted data, and update my index key with your latest value. Okay, and now we have to pass this updated summation to our question component. So let's pass it, and let's see how it works. So just press Ctrl B, goes to your question, press Ctrl B, and here I will say on change, just copy this, and you have to pass the index. Now how you will find the current question index? Okay, so you have to just wait a second. I am using this. So first of all I have to pass the index, and second thing, so I will say let's go here again on the key space and use this current question index, and I will pass this also. So let's go here and pass the current question index and go in the question page, and let's import it. So I can say, and the value will be option dot text. So let's press Alt Z. So now let's see how it look like. So if I and okay, so the only thing that I have to do is let me go to the queue space and console.log my submitted data, so that you can understand what's going on here. Okay, so let's remove everything, and if I click on Douglas, so you can find out that 0 is the key and this is our answer, this is our value. If I click on diff C option, so you can find out for the 0 answer, like this is the first question now. So 0 index, the answer is this, and if I click on this, now see what you are able to see, that in the array the updated value is only shown, but here I can click on the multiple elements. So how to resolve this problem? So for that what we have to do, in the radio we have to give a unique name, like the same name, not unique name, you have to give all option the same name. So what can be the name that will be same? I think the question will be same for these 4 option or 3 options. So let's give this name, and now let's try it out. Okay, so it's working fine. Now the only thing that is the problem is once I created this next or back button, I have to see which option is already checked. Okay, so for that what I will do, I will say checked, and I have to write the logic for this check. So the check will be I have to see like option.text should be equals to my previous answer, which is in this set submitted. So what I can do is I can say this previous answer, okay, or selected option which I have selected earlier will be set in my submitted data, okay, and submitted data dot current question index. Is it so? Yeah. So now what I have to do, I have to go here and I have to say selected option, and I can use this selected option from, what do you say, at the last. So from here. So now our question is done, and I hope this question component is very clear to you how to we have created a timer. Okay, so right now this timer is static. We will make it dynamic, but for now let's see what's our next task. So this question component is done. Let's go to this queue space, and this question is done. So we have to create a back button. On click that, we should go to the previous question, and also we have to create a next button. On click that, we should go to next question. So let me give you a hint how to do that. Basically what you have to do is you have to create two buttons. On click that button, you have to update your current question index. Okay, because here I am passing the current question index. Okay, if I update the current question index by +1, that will be my next question, and if I make it -1, that will be my previous question. So just pause the video and try to give it a shot. So just press Ctrl B and let's create a new component, and I will say buttons.jsx, and here we will have all the buttons, or I can give a better name like back button or back next button, but for now let's give the buttons name, and here I will say, just press Ctrl B, I will say const buttons, and should I create a new component for button, or it's just will be two buttons, so should I make it here? No problem, let's make a new component. By the way, do you know when we should make a new component? We should make a new component if and only if you are going to reuse that component. Okay, so yeah, so what I am gonna say here is I will say div, and inside that div I will have button, and I will give a class name of btn, and I will write here back. Similarly, I need a next button, so I will say here next, and now I have to do one more thing. Just control, I have to give few more things, that is it should be class name, and class name should be text center. Now I have to import it here, so let's import it. Import. So now let's use it here, say buttons. So you can find these two buttons, and yeah, so now what we have to do is we have to use the on click event. So let's go to here, and I will say on click. So what we have to do, we have to update the set current index. So how to do that? We can go to, like, we are coming here, and I will pass set current index equals to set current index, and let's pass it. So come here and use that set current question index, and use this, copy, and use it something like this way. And also let me make it in the different line so that you can easily see that. Let's make it on the different line. And now what we are gonna do is I will say on the back I will pass here the current question as well, current question, and current question will be, yeah, current question index, not current question, current question index. And let's make it on the next line, make it on the next line. So we are passing current question index and set current question index, and press controls. And similarly here I need paste it current question. I think now it's look good. Okay, so let's go to this button, and I will say my current question plus -1 on the back. Okay, similarly I will now copy paste and I will say +1 for the next answer. So let's try it out. If I click on okay, so this should be next. This should be next. Now if I click on next, I goes to next. If I click on next, I go to next. If I click on back, I come to back. So this is working. But there is a big mistake. So let's see if right now I am at the 0th question or the first person. And so my current index will be 0. Okay. So if I click on this back button, so my index will become -1. In that case, what will happen? It will my app will be crashed. Okay, similarly, if I go to the quiz application and go to next, it will be overflow. So we have to make sure these two condition. So can you solve it by yourself? Just pause the video and try to give a disable button or depending on these two conditions. Just give the disabled condition. What you have to write is, so you will say disabled, and here in the disabled, you will say if current question index equals to 0. Okay, if this condition is true, then this should be disabled. Okay, so now if I goes to, now if I click on, let's save it first. Now if I click on back button, okay, it is disabled, but it's not look like disabled, so we will add a disabled class here. So I will say btn and I will add current question index equals to 0, and in that case I will say disabled. So now you see, if I it's disabled. Similarly, this next should be disabled until we choose any option. So I will say disabled is equals to submitted data. So I have to pass the submitted data here. So let's go to queue space and just remove this bit and pass here the submitted data. Submitted data equals to submitted data, and I will use that submitted data. So go to buttons and here I will say submitted data dot current index. So if it is true, if you have put any data here, then no problem. But if no, then in that case what you have to do, let me wait, what I have to do, I have to pass it as a props. So I think, yeah, so now if you have submitted the answer, then it is disabled. Okay, so what I have to do, I have to reverse it. If you haven't select any option, then it will be this. Okay, so let's select any option. Let's select it and goes to next. Now right now if it is disabled, okay, if I click on it, you can find it is disabled. So let's give few classes to make it look like disabled. So let's go btn and put here the same condition. Let's put this condition, copy and just paste it, and if this is true, then make it disabled class. Okay, so let's save it. So now you can see, if I choose it, click on it, then it becomes this. Otherwise it remains same. Okay, so yeah, this is how it should look. One more thing that I can find, if I click on this npm button, it's not clicked. So the reason behind that, because my label is not working. So let's go to the question. Okay, so I haven't give some any id for label. So what I have to do, I have to give a unique id, and unique id will be option dot text for this html4, and similarly I have to give the id here. So let's give option dot text here. So I think now it's will working fine. So if I click on node.js, yeah, so now it's working fine. Now if you go to the last option lane, now you goes to last. Okay, again this is the problem, because our condition is if you choose, then it's working fine. Okay, so we have to use another condition. That condition is if it is last question, in that case what you have to do, you have to show different button. Okay, so how to do that? Basically let's create an condition. So we will say if our current question index is less than our questions data. So we have to import the question data. So let's import it. Import. So now I have to find this length. I will say questions data dot length -1 -1. So if this is the case, in that case, what you have to do, I'm using this conditional rendering. If you understand this conditional rendering, I have explained the conditional rendering in the first video where we build the in the second video in the to do f1. And now if current index is less than question length -1, then show the next button. Otherwise, you can show this submit button. So here I will say submit button. Okay, so otherwise what you have to show, you have to show the submit button. And here I will not do something like this. I will say you have to some calculate score. You have to calculate score. Okay, so I have to create this calculate score function, but for now just use this submit. So let's see how it's going. So if I click on this option, go to next. If I click on it, go to next. If I click on it, so now you see this is submit one. Okay, so let me see if I can, like, it looks too much. I have to entirely copy everything. Rather than doing in that case, what I can do is, okay, so I can do it in the better way. So the better way will be, let's remove this condition. So this is the one way where you can see the line of code was too much. So what I can do, I will use this condition on the on click. So let's save it. Let's press Alt Z. Okay. Now I will say if this condition, then so this, else what you have to do, else what you should do. And here also let me put it in the parentheses so that it's look good. Else what you have to do, you have to calculate score. Calculate score. And let me just create the function of calculate score. So how to create the calculate score function? Just say const. Let me see how it's working. So one more thing that I have to do on click, if this is the case, then so next, otherwise so let me write submit button. So if you see now, this code is much cleaner than the earlier one. So let me write it. So earlier we have to write like so much code, like we have to copy paste entire this thing. Now we just have to use this condition and we just have to this. And always remember the dry principle, that is don't repeat yourself. So we don't need to repeat the same button. So now if I click on this, I can go to next. If I click on it, I can go to next. If I click on it, I can go to submit. And let's see this console button. Let's click this. And if I click on submit, it says final submission done. Okay. So let's go to the task and find what's our next task. We will show the final score. So we have our submitted data. Once we submit it, we have our submitted data. We have our final answer in the question data. So let's calculate the score. So just pause the video and try to start. So we will say let score equals to 0, and then we will say we have a questions data and dot we will use the map on this question data, or we can say we don't need a map because map will return a new array and we don't need that. So we will say for each, and here what I will say, for each will have a question and I will have the index. I need both of them. Now what I will say, here, if my question dot answer, this question is an object. Okay, this question is the object, this object. Okay, and this answer is the key. So I will use that answer and I will match it with my submitted data dot index. Okay, this is the index. So I will match. If these two match, then make my score plus plus, make my score plus 1. Otherwise, what we will do? Otherwise, we will do nothing. Okay. So once you have done this, let's console log it. Console log your score. So let's see how many answers are correct. Okay. So just go here, just remove it, just enter the keys. So now if I click on this, click next. If I click on this, click next. I click and finally submit it. You can find my answer is 0 because I click all wrong. So let's create some right. Okay, so let's create some right answer. So let's create the first. Go here, goes to npm, go here and go, and let's see how many we have right. So 3 of them are right. Okay, so now what we have to do is actually what we have to do is we have to pass this score to our score page. Okay, so we have to show this score on the next page. So we will say import, and import I will use navigate, and here I will say from, and in that from I will say React router DOM, and I need const navigate is equals to use navigate, and here I will simply say navigate to slash score, and it's done. It's that simple. Just click on submit, you go to score page. But here comes the problem. This is my score. Okay, this is my score. Now how to use that score? So what we do actually is in this navigation, this use so many things. So we can pass the state as well. So we can pass the state, and in this scale I will pass the score. So this is the variable. Now how to use that? That's the different thing. So let's use that. So let's go to this score page, control B, and I will go to score page. So let's start from the scratch. Let's remove this div, just make it div, and inside that div we will have first of all h1, which will say congratulations, you have completed the challenge, and we can give some styling. Let's say class name, and class name will be box or a score box. Basically we have to give 2, and then we will have congratulations. Let's make it on center, so we will say text center, and then we will have a then we will have another s2, let's say s2, and here I will say the score, and let's say for now let's give some default value 0, and this should also be in the text center, so let's make it a text center. So now you can see congratulations score 0, and finally what we have to do is we have to show this score. So how to do that? I will say your score, and now we have to use the what I am sending in the URL. So this state is passed in this URL. So how to use that? So for that you have to use another hook that is known as useLocation. So import useLocation. So this is again a new React hook which is provided by the React router DOM. So basically this video is the crash course of React router DOM. I want to help you to understand React router DOM. That's why I make this assignment for you. So yeah, so what you have to do, you have to say const, and let's first of all use location, and use location and try to find out what this use location is. So console.log location, and just go the console, and you can find in the location you have the path name which is slash score, you have the search which is empty, hash which is empty, and then state which is null right now. Okay, so let's see why it's null. Okay, got it. So basically we have to pass it as an object. So we can't pass it like this, we have to pass it as an object. So I will pass it score. Okay, so this state should be object. So now if I just click on enter, so you can see, let me just go back to quiz. Let's go back to quiz and just click on any option, just click on and just click and click submit. You can see I have passed an object to the state, and the score is 3. Okay, so we can find the score. So now what I am gonna do is, where is my button? Where is my button? Yeah. So here I will say, I will destructure my location, and I only use state only. Okay. And from this state I will show, state is another object. So I will say state dot score key. So you can see this is updated and our basic app is done. So let's go start quiz, choose any option, next, choose again any option, next, choose again and submit it. Your final score is 3. So this is the basic app that you have to build. The next task is to create, here we want to show all the questions that you have answered, not answer, your right answer, and yeah, and one button which will redirect to start again. So let's create a class, let's create a div with the class name. I will say answers, and inside that I will use, I have to sort all the submitted data. So what I can do, I will say first of all questions data. So I have to import the questions data. And here I will say questions data dot map, and here I will say question, and you will use its index as well. Have to just return the div. So let's use the curly braces, let's use the round braces. I will say div, and inside that div, let's give the class name answer, and here I have the question. So I will show question number 1 and then its question. So I will say let's have a paragraph, and in that paragraph I will say that question, no question, I will say index will be 0. So index plus 1, that will be 1 2 3, and here write the q. So that will be question 1 2 3, and press space. So just see here space, and here I will say questions dot question. So if you are confusing what is this question dot question, so this question is the let's go to again question data. The first question is the entire object. This entire object is the question, and question dot question, this question is the key. So question dot question will be this. Okay, so I hope you are not confusing between them. So now let's see, we are able to find all the question. Now we have to write the answer. So let's have another paragraph, and here I will write the answer. So how to write the answer, we will say submitted data, sorry. So we have to import the submitted data. So we will use submitted data here, submitted data, and we have to pass this submitted data to, how to pass it, we are redirecting it, we are not calling this component. Okay, so what we can do is just control X, just control this. So we can use it in this way, yeah, here. So we will pass it in this state. Okay, so this is not the best way, but this is the way that you can do it. So because you are not calling the rendering the component, you are just navigate to new component. So you can pass the submitted data, save it, and say submitted is nothing. Now I will say state dot submitted data. Okay, and now I have to show its index. So reading undefined of index, I think it should work fine. Let me just save it. Let's go to quiz and just click on answer, go next, npm next, flint next, and here you can find this is the Douglas, this is the npm, and this is the slint. These are my answers. So I hope all things work fine. But one more thing that I want to do is, we have to give the classes. So if you see right now, this Douglas and this answer should be, first of all I will write it something like that, like your answer. Okay, something I want to write your answer, so that it's look good. Second thing I want to do is give a class of red or green. Okay, depending on its right or wrong. So let's give a conditional class name. So how to find it's right or wrong. So it's, I think, easy. What I have to do, I have to do question dot answer. If that question dot answer equals to, in that case, what I will do, in that case, if it's equal, then give the correct class. Otherwise, give the incorrect class. Okay, incorrect answer. So let's give the class. Okay, so it looked far better. Now you can find that this answer is wrong and these two answers are right. Okay, add a new button, and yeah, so let's add a new button. So we will have again a div, and inside the div I will say button, and I will give the class name as the btn, and here I will say start again. And you just have to use navigate, and once you do that, now what you have to do, you have to call the navigate, and once you call the navigate, it will return the function navigate function, not use location, use navigate. Okay, and now you have to call this use navigate on click. So on click, just call this navigate function. Okay, and here I will say goes to start. Just save it. So now let's see if I say start again. Hooray! It's working super cool. So start quiz, click, nest, click, nest. Just wait a second. Click, nest, click, and nest. Hooray! The game is done. So let's create the timer one first. Okay. So what we are gonna do is, first of all, we will create a state that will say total time, and set total time. And what should be the total time? So our total time will be initialized with depending on how many number of questions we have. So we can say, let's say our question is how we can find the question. So we can say questions data dot length. Okay, and then we have to multiply it with, let's say, 30 seconds. So this 30, what is this 30? So this is known as magic number. You don't have to write this 30 40 in this way, but we will write it here. We will go const time, and say, now you can understand, if I multiply here with time for one question, you can understand what is this total time for. Question data dot length will be question, and time for one question will be like, it will be like 30 into 3. Okay, and similarly, one more thing that I would recommend you, don't write this 3 MCQ. Like if you add here 5 MCQ, then it will be wrong now. So what you can do is just import, just use that length. Okay, rather than using it directly, use question data dot length. Okay, so now if you add 5 questions, 6 questions, you don't have to update this. Okay, similarly, I think score is 1. You don't need to write this fixed number. Don't write it. I highly not recommend it. Okay, so I think all these questions not found. Everything look perfect. Question page, yeah, all look good. Just go to now quiz and implement the total timer. So this will be our state. So now what we have to do is, we have to create a set timeout. Okay, we will create a set timeout, and here what we will do, we will call the function every single time, every single second. You have to update, not update, you have to minus it by one time. Okay, so and now what I am gonna do, rather than showing is 90 seconds, I will say total time. Okay, so now let's start the quiz. So you see, constant variable. Okay, so we can't do set timeout in this way. We have to say set total time is equals to total time minus 1. Okay, so now let's see. If you see, this timer is decreasing by 1 second. Every single second it's become total time minus 1. Now what will happen if total time becomes 0, and it becomes minus 1, minus 2, minus 3? So we have to check that condition. So what we will say, if our total time becomes 0, total time becomes 0, In that case, you have to do something else, else just do this thing. Okay, else do this. So now what we are gonna do, if our timer is closed, then what we will do? What we will do? We will calculate our score. Okay, calculate our score. Calculate score. What's the score? Just calculate it. Okay, so now what's this calculate score? Um, let's do one thing. Just import this button to its parent. Okay, so let's import it into its parent. So let's go here and let me just come here and make this is here. Okay, so now if you see this navigate is problem, so let's remove it from here and use this navigate here. Okay, so let's use it one step above, so use it here. Now you have to, so this is what I am showing is how to make your how to pass your stage to one level up. Okay, so this is how you pass your levels to one level up. So now let me just make it clear. Okay, so I think it's look good and it will be more better if I make it before that. Okay, so now it's look good, calculate score, but the only problem is even if this code working fine, as the total time becomes 0, this calculate score, this timer will be run. Okay, so what we have to do, we have to clear this timeout. So how to do that? We will say const timer id, and this will return the timeout, return the timer id, and before the calculating the score, we will clear this timeout. Okay, clear this timeout so that every time the new time will be called. So I think this works perfectly fine. Now timer is implemented. If you let's start with just 5 seconds so that we can see. I can't wait for the 90 second. Okay, so let's restart. So just wait for 14 seconds and you will find if I click on this one, okay, if I click on this npm and I have clicked one right, one wrong, and second will be not answer. 1 2 0 and hooray, let's go to the score page. Your answer is wrong, your answer is right, and your answer. Okay, so let's fix this your answer. So let's go to the score page and it will be undefined or null. So what we can do is I will say something like that. If I have answered, then you can show this thing. Now if you don't answer it, you will say not answered. Okay, not answer. So let's see how it's look like. If you have state dot submitted data, if there is a key with this, then you have to write your answer, whether it's right or wrong. Otherwise you say not answer. Okay, so now this score page look final, and yeah, it's final. So let's go to button, and I think this is also done. So rather than calculate score, now you have to calculate, you have to call this calculate score. Okay, so now we will calculate, call this calculate score from the score page, not from the score, from the quiz page. Okay, let me do it this also by myself. So let me create a new file. We'll say review answer, review answer dot jsx, and basically JSX means it is a React file which return the JSX. Okay, I already explained what is JSX. That is the syntax for writing JavaScript in React. And if I write JS, that means it only is a function. It does not return the JSX. So this is the way of writing the file extension. So I will say const review answer. So I and again we have to give some classes here. So the very first class will be the box, and second will be answer. Yeah, review answer. Okay, now after the h1 we will have a here again we will have a div, and here I will write class name. And what will the class name? Let's say answer div. Okay, and then we will have a, now what we have to show, we have to show the submitted data. And how to map over submitted data? Basically submitted data is an object. Okay, so here I have to pass submitted data, or submitted answer will be the best option. Okay, but let it be, you can write the submitted data or whatever you want to write. So now what I want to do is, after this div, let's remove this and say review answer, and here I will pass submitted data. Okay, so now goes to review answer. And so what I will wait, control Z. So what I will do is, I have to map over object. So how to map over? So you have to use object dot keys. So what these keys do, this objects dot keys will return an array of keys. Okay, and here you have to write the object name submitted. So what it will do, it will return an array of keys. Now what I will do, I will map over it, and I will have a key, and from that key what I will do, I will return a div. Okay, should I return a div? No, basically I can return a simple button, and that button will be have a class name of btn. Okay, of btn, but before that btn it should also have a class of review answer button. Okay, what I have to show, I have to show submitted data, and that this key. Okay, then this key. So let's go to quiz page, and you can find it. If I go here, if I click on this, you see this option. If I click on it, if I click on next, if I click on npm, you can find it out. Okay, go to review answer, and here I will say which answer it is. Okay, so first of all I have to write here something like hash, and I will use key plus one. Okay, so yeah, let's do it. Start keys. So if I click on this, it says 0 1. Okay, then it will say 1 1. Okay, so key is the string, so 1 plus 1 become 11. Okay, so that is do a string concatenation. So what I can do, make it a int. So make parse int. So now it will good. Okay, parse int key will make it 2, it's 1. Okay, now the only thing is, if I click on this 2, it should go to second question. If I click on 1, it should goes to 1. How to do that? Very easy. So just you have to say class name, just go here, say on click, and on click you will update the index. Okay, so how to do, you will say set current question index. So you have to pass it from here. So just go here and come here and say, yeah, let me write it in the next line, and let me just save it. Just go to review answer, just come here and paste it, come here and paste it, and you have to say the index will be this parse int key. Okay, not plus 1. Here you don't have to do plus 1, because index will be 0 1 2, but here I am showing 1 2 3. Okay, so make sure this like this, and let's try to, if I click on 1, I go to first answer, click on 2, go to second. Okay, and the timer off, I come here. Okay, so I hope you are able to understand this thing. We can build it like so. In this project I try to follow all the best practices. We have this question data, we have this style, we have this app, and inside that app we have the first of all welcome page. So from this welcome page we go to the quiz. On clicking we are navigating to quiz. Then in the quiz page you can see I am writing this. This is the only code of quiz. Okay, these are the only components. We break it down to multiple components. First of all the question, then button, then review answer, and then we will have we have this calculated score, and we write this timer, update submission, And quiz, this is very simple. Like, I hope this project was very simple, you are able to understand these things. Now we have the few assignment for you. As you know, I give you assignment. So what can be better in that app? Okay, this project is looking good. We use so many routes, we use navigation, we use useLocation, we understand about we add a lot of interactivity. But what we can do is rather than implementing that you have to choose the answer before going next, can we implement something like review answer? Let's say if I go to start again, and if I click on start again, I don't want to answer it for now. Okay, I don't want to answer it for now. I just want to go next, or it will be review answer. It will be on different color. Let's say if it's in the purple color, that means I have reviewed it. Okay, if it is in the green color, that means I have corrected. According to me, this question is correct. Okay, so can we make this 4 color? So just try to give it a shot and just let me know in the comment section you are going to implement this feature. This is very basic feature. You just have to use some options and that will be good. Okay, so let me know in the comment section how many of you are interested to this, and if you have any suggestion for any assignment, do let me know in the video. And in this video I haven't shown my face, so do you want a face video or without face video? That also let me know in the comment section. If you have any feedback or suggestion, yeah, just write it down in the comment. And don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button, and I will see you in the next video.